cannot stop us. Take the power that we deserve.
You can bloody well try.
Easy prey.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to share with you guys this is not the second build, this is actually the third build that I've played for 0.5, which is my Bleed Ignite Gemling Legionnaire using Perfect Strike and taking advantage of the newly updated Blistering Bond, where it says fire damage contributes to bleeding magnitude and bleeding you inflict deals fire damage instead of physical damage. Okay, anyway, so basically I just wanted to play around with the damage over time build that has not been a very good place in Path of Exile 2 early access, but I've played an explosive ignite using Black Flame Covenant before, but since for this patch they updated this ring so that you can inflict bleeding with fire damage, so now I'm playing around with this instead. So basically, how this build works is that by using Blistering Bond, your fire damage can contribute to your bleeding magnitude, meaning you can use your fire damage to inflict ignite, and if you have enough chance to inflict bleeding, you can inflict bleeding as well using the full amount of your fire damage to be bleeding. And the bleeding you inflicted won't be physical, it will be fire damage as well. So in that sense, we can actually scale our damage over time from this build using fire damage scaling. Like for example, I have this note like here, for example, every rage also grants 1% increased fire damage. It affects our bleed and ignite, and yeah, mostly the fire notes will have like increased duration of damaging ailment. Damaging ailments count bleeding and ignite as well. Okay, ignite you inflict deals damage faster. This only applies to our ignite, not our bleeding. This one is area of effect, and yeah, the rest I have is an anointment here. For example, enemies ignited by you permanently take 1% increased fire damage for each second they have been ignited. Okay, so we need to ignite, but after we ignite, the enemy will be debuffed by 1% increased fire damage taken, which also affects our bleed. And this one, these 4 nodes right here, this one because of I'm using, where is it? From Nothing, that allows our passive in our Wild Surge incantation to be allocated without being connected, and this is a crazy value radius because it has here increased damage with hits against burning enemies, ignite magnitude and ignite duration. So this one only affects ignite. Enemies ignited by you by -5% to fire resistance. This one affects both bleed and ignite. And this one, burning enemies you kill have 5% chance to explode, and as well as AoE. So, yeah. Basically, we're just scaling our fire damage and inflicting our ignite and bleed together. And for example, this one, increased magnitude of damaging ailment. And again, damaging ailment, bleeding, ignite, and poison. And we inflict 2 out of the 3. So basically, that's pretty much it on scaling it. And because damage over time don't exactly have that much scaling vector here in early access as of now, so the reason one of the main way for us to scale the damage is by reducing the enemy resistances by using this amulet, Zos Blood, where it says enemy impressors have -25% to fire resistance. This one is a static value, meaning unlike curses, for example, curses have, where is it? Here, curses have less curse effect on unique monsters here, for example, but this amulet will inflict -25 regardless. So yeah, it's great. The value goes up when you go against unique enemies. And we'll also be using Blasphemy linked with Elemental Weakness and Heightened Curse, which allows our curse to our aura, Blasphemy aura, to inflict minus 58% elemental resistances. And at the current setting, from that 58, we remove at least 56, even with all the minus, even with all the less magnitude from the Blasphemy, because an alternate effect from the quality also gives us 26% increased magnitude, and we have here another 25% increased magnitude, so it kind of counterbalance that less effect of magnitude, so we can enjoy the full amount of our elemental resistances, elemental weakness aura. And other than that, we're playing with Gemling's Legionnaire, which has this newly updated note where it says gem quality grants socketed skill and additional effect, and we'll be using Perfect Strike basically, because Perfect Strike actually has a huge damage multiplier. I'm currently sitting at, I'm using level 19 skill gem with +6 from global modifier, and I'm sitting at 1445% of fire damage, which also, where it says the ignite also have more flammability magnitude. The reason the scaling for alternate quality for this skill is actually more attack speed, so it allows the build to have like very smooth playstyle with Perfect Strike. It doesn't take very long to charge. I'll show you an example. Oops, missed that one. So basically just like that. It's very much manageable during mapping, unlike normal Perfect Strike, which is quite hard to use if you don't have that quality. And currently we're only sitting at 20 from skill gem and 6% from global modifier. I haven't corrupted it or anything yet, so we're sitting at 52% more attack speed using a two-handed mace at 1.43 base attack per second. Okay, this is quite high for a mace, two-handed mace. And this is basically the attack speed. And this is without the buff that we have using constricting command, where we have increased attack speed while surrounded with this helmet. And that's pretty much it, the concept of the build. Okay, I know I didn't talk much about gameplay from the basic build intro just now, so I'm just going to show you just a quick demonstration. We'll do one near the abyss. No, where do I want to do? We'll do it over here. We have Radiated, Abyss, this one. What is this? Whatever. So basically gameplay is pretty simple. You meet a mob, you just alternate between Perfect Strike and Spearfield. Spearfield helps in slowing down the enemy, and also the way I set up my Spearfield also can I can also inflict pinning, so you can immobilize the enemy, which gives us time to safely charge our Perfect Strike. Okay, just like that. And when they walk over to the spear field, the bleeding and ignite can be aggravated by the Saita spear, which I also forgot to cover inside the build intro. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, we have the Abyss. The problem with this build is that it's kinda well, it's really skill dependent, and you can really like myself, for example, I'm not really good in rhythm games, so sometimes I really miss the charging time of this skill. But even then, it's manageable because we're using this unique life flash introduced in this patch, where it says skills have perfect timing window, longer perfect timing window up to 114%. So it kind of helps your getting your timing right for your Perfect Strike. And let's say you've been missing out a lot, just press your Molten Blast, which is linked with Salvo, which also helps clearing out the mob packs a little bit. Sometimes like you're missing like 2-3 perfect strikes in one row, so yeah, at least you have a backup attack. But I really use this for backup mostly. If you want damage, you need to do your perfect strikes properly. You can use Engage and Entangle. Entangle helps slow down the enemy, and Disengage is linked with Holy Descent, which allows us to have Consecrated Ground. And if you can see this build, for example, you see here we're sitting at around 200 life recovery on Consecrated Ground, and if we time our perfect strike properly, our life flash will be triggered and it recovers by a very high amount. So it's actually really safe, provided you're not missing out on your perfect strikes. So basically that's pretty much it, how to play the build. The rest is like as you can see on the screen here. And also partly because it's reliant on your timing, sometimes the build can feel pretty bad when you're like either lagging or the maps have a lot of like speed debuff, action speed debuff like chill ground or temple chain and things like that. It can really mess up your timing. Okay, we reached the boss arena and I have a acceleration shrine, so this is going to mess up my perfect timing a lot. See? Yep. So it's very skill dependent in that sense, because if you like, for example here, I'm so fast that I can just single click my mouse button to unleash the perfect strike. But otherwise, this is something that the build needs to take note of. It's really sensitive to the action speed of your character. Okay, so now I'm going to cover a little bit more on the pieces that makes up the build. Okay, first up will be the mandatory uniques. This build is enabled by Blistering Bond, already covered that inside the build intro, and Saita Spear and Constricting Command. Constricting Command is not technically necessary per se, but it's just a good rare uniques that you can use to easily scale the build when you start as a mercenary, and it's just too good to pass up. Saita Spear, because we can, for this line right here, aggravate any bleeding with this weapon, also aggravate all ignites, and because bleeding is now converted to fire damage with Blistering Bond, technically we're aggravating our fire damage over time for the build. So yeah, this three is basically mandatory. And then Zol's Blood is just a good all-rounder unique if you don't want to craft like some crazy +4 amulet, because the reason why I don't want to stack so much level, if you can see from the gameplay just now, I'm kinda going through sort of a mana problem that is not necessarily, I'm not necessarily really paying attention to at the moment, because the skill is only level, where is it? Where's my perfect strike? It's only level 25, and it can be 26 from another +20 gem, and then maybe if I want to use that, what's the unique jewel called? Prism of Belief or something, to add another 3 level. But otherwise I don't want to push my skill gem level too much, because it will become a problem to my mana. And of course I can use the support gem. Wait. To solve the mana for the build, I can just use Defy 2, because we're already surrounded. It's just that attack damage with hits supported skill is lucky. It's not really that useful, because we're dealing fire damage, and fire damage actually has a very low range from minimum to maximum, so being lucky doesn't translate to much damage at all for us. unless if this build was actually inflicting something like a lightning damage, then lucky is actually very good. But otherwise, fire damage, not so much. Okay, anyway, so that one, and then we have here opportunity life loss, where effect is not removed when unreserved life is filled. So basically, it's a persistent effect. The only problem is it cannot be used manually and used only when you release a skill with perfect timing. So no other choice. You need to get good with your perfect strike. Even though I'm really bad at it, so sometimes it does bother me because my HP is like very low, but I cannot like press my push health plus as usual. I just need to run around until it's safe and then just release a perfect strike. And sometimes when you're panicking, it can get you killed. And then another very good unique is here, from nothing, where it says passives in radius of wild search incantation can be located without being connected, and this is wild search incantation. And these 4 nodes are all fire nodes, and it's all of it are good for build. So yeah, it's a very good opportunity cost for this one. For anointments will be melting flames, enemies ignited by you take increased fire damage. Okay, that's pretty much the important gear. The rest are just life resistances, damage, life resistances, maybe some stats, damage. This one, boots will have movement speed, and we'll have armor applies to elemental damage. My armor, yeah, my chest piece is kinda trash. I don't know when was the last time I've updated it, but you need a spirit on this build because we're running 3 reservation, which is Herald of Ash, Berserk, and Blasphemy. And currently I'm sitting at 1-7 134. You need at least 134 spirit to run this build. But also if you take out Heightened Curse, you only need minus 28. Having a brain fight right now. Slightly just slightly just slightly below 120. So yeah, doesn't require much. Even 40 spirit, 41 spirit, we're still sitting at plus 7 extra, so you can make do with just 34 spirit. So yeah, we're running Herald of Ash, Berserk, and Blasphemy. And other than that, there's nothing really important. For our shield, I'm using Effigy of Cruelty, where it says critical hits apply 3 stacks of critical weakness. I'm using it together with my Entangle, because Entangle hits a lot of time. It doesn't just... I'm mainly using it for slow, but it also... where is it? It also hits every 0.1 second at a base crit chance of 10%. So I thought, why not scale the critical so that I can inflict critical weakness and also daze the enemy when we critical hit with physical damage. But again, that's not like very important. It's just what I've decided to latch on after much testing. Okay, this is our skill tree. The green tree is our alternate weapon set for our damage. This two-handed duration and magnitude of damaging ailments, fire damage, or else ailment, fire damage, ignite, so mainly damage. And for our Saita spear, I'm mostly focusing on pin build up because of this note right here, enemies are intimidated when you immobilize, and because pin is a great crowd control for the build. And we have here stun build up, freeze build up, immobilization build up, and this one for when we cast our marks. The reason we're taking this stun build up because where is it? Where's our spear field? Our spear field is using pin support, where it says modifiers to stun build up for supported skill instead apply to pin build up. So yeah, it applies pin build up quite easily for trash mobs, not so much on unique monster because our spear is not very strong. And okay, what else? Passive skill tree. Okay, ascendancy. You want to take virtuous barrier first, advanced thaumaturgy second. We want to get alternate quality on our perfect strike as soon as possible to make the attack speed much more bearable. And then we take adaptive capability so that we can run our blasphemy aura without balancing our stats, because otherwise it will require high amount of intelligence. And finally, Blistering Bond just for +2 level of all skill with strength requirement. And that's our ascendancy. For our passive skill tree, other than the alternate weapon set passive tree, will be mostly quality of life. Let's say here, surrounded, we have movement speed, dodge roll, attack damage, regenerate, surrounded area effect, attack speed. This one area of effect, this one armor, this one rage, and this one another surrounded. Dexterity, so that we can hit the enemy. Yeah, other than that, it's not that complicated. I'm taking this note. Usually people pass through this, but I think this is very good. Number one, because we do not have a very high. We cannot trigger our flash manually, so having a passive life regen is good. And another reason is because increased flash life recovery rate also affects our opportunity ultimate life flash. And especially good. It's especially good because the effect is not removed when unreserved life is filled. So yeah, it allows our flash to like recover over 1,000 life per second, because otherwise it will recover just from the unique flash. We will recover only 2,600 over 4.2 seconds. That's not a lot. That's definitely not 1,000 plus per second. So yeah, that note is like deceivingly good for the build. And yeah, that's it for the passive skill tree. And then for our gem, we have perfect strike with fire attunement, bleed. Okay, bleed is very important because otherwise we don't have any chance to bleed on the build. So this one allows for all our attack to automatically inflict bleeds. We basically automatically inflict ignites because perfect strike and molten blast both have modifier to flammability and ignite, so that one should be no issue. But for bleed, you need a bleed support gem. Elemental armament, the cellular rhythm for perfect timing, and another windows of opportunity for another one for perfect timing. Enemy Splinter is our entangle setup, not really that important, but if you want to use it, we'll be using entangle, pinpoint critical, upheaval, concussive spell. Disengage is our panic button, where we have consecrated ground to allows us to have high life regen. Persistent ground, enriching ground, rapid attacks. Sniper's mark, this one is like a bonus for us most of the time, but it's good because we can trigger it using our entangle. And it will gives us marks for eternal mark, not support, not consume when first activated. Charge mark to triggers shock ground. Mark for death to break armor. This is just something that I just fill in because I have the slots. Mark of siphoning for mana leech and physical life leech. Molten blast, the most important part is salvo, and then bleed, of course, already covered just now. Fire attunement, elemental armament, retreat. So basically last three are all damage. Spear field will be using rage to allows us to gain rage on hit. I have pin, stun and brink. This one have more stun build up, and again more stun build up, and because we're using pin, stun build up is converted to pin build up. Herald of Ash, we're using magnified area, and then nothing else. Berserk, because you can't really skill Herald of Ash. It says here ignite, but unfortunately Herald of Ash doesn't really inflict ignite. It's not really an ignite, it's like a burning damage, and ignite modifier doesn't really you can't really support Herald of Ash with any ignite modifier. So that's a wording issue right there. It still hasn't been fixed since last time. I'm not sure if GGG noticed it or not, but otherwise just remember, Herald of Ash explosion is not ignite, even though the skill says it's ignite. You cannot skill it with what you skill with ignite. Berserk just grants increased rage effect, and alternate quality also gives us more maximum rage. And then finally Blasphemy for elemental weakness, magnified area, heightened curse, and fire mastery. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the build. I'm not sure if I've been playing around with the build quite some time. This is because at first I played my Mirage stacking Glacier Lens. I tried to play around with other methods to improve it. Unfortunately, I only managed to do a numerical improvement So I wasn't really bothered to cover much about that build. But for this build as well, I've also been extensively trying, and I'll still be playing it. But at the moment, I don't think I'll find other new methods to improve it for now. So I'm not sure if I'm going to cover this build in the future. But of course, anything I'll just put it in. I'll just pin it in my YouTube comment sections. But otherwise, if you have any further answer, feel free to ask me. And that's pretty much the build that I'm going to share with you guys. That I'm planning to share with you guys today. And as always, see you next time, Exile.